What is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe, NEVERsate.com, and I am standing in front of the whiteboard, which means you are going to need a piece of paper and something to write with, because we're talking programming. So if you're new to the channel, this is a different type of video where I actually lay out an entire program and show you guys a skeleton of the exact way that I would lay it out, and then you guys can put in whatever exercise that you want, or whatever assistance exercise, or whatever it is that will help you reach your goals. You can apply whatever things that I throw up here to your own training, and you will have yourself a free program. Now, a lot of people want to know why. And that, believe it or not, is actually an easy question, because when I was coming up, we didn't have anything but muscle magazines. We didn't really have the internet when I was really starting lifting. And so in the muscle magazines, they would give you some workouts, but the programs really just sucked, like really sucked. So I always said that if I ever gained a place of influence, that I would definitely put out some stuff for free that actually worked. Now, as many of you know, taking these templates and then personalizing them for people is absolutely how I make the majority of my income. However, I know not everyone has the ability or the money to do something like that. So I do always want to put something out for free, because if you're not in that position, I don't want you to not be able to make gains because you don't have enough money, because that sucks. Now, the program that I'm going to be talking about today is all about building mass and strength. Now, I've run other programs before that are always based on building power. However, due to by far popular demand, people want to get a little bit more muscle mass. So I designed an entire program that will absolutely make you stronger. There is no doubt about that, but it is specifically made to put mass on your frame. And you're welcome, because I know a lot of you have been requesting this. Now, just in case adding mass is not something that you're interested in doing at all, I have released 8 other videos on programming, one of which is linear, one is on rotating percentages. I have a conjugate program out there, a power builder, DUP, dark horse, which is kind of a mix of rotating percentages as well as conjugate, and then a 4 horseman program, which is more based for technique and powerlifting and things like that. But the one that we're talking about today is going to be a mass builder. Now, I did consider coming up with a fancy cool name like one of these two, however, people can't remember them. So we came up with a mass builder, because they're building mass while also getting strong. But for probably about the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna be standing at this board laying out exactly what you're going to need to know. So if you guys are interested, grab a piece of paper and something to write with, and I'm gonna get after it. Quick side note though, I have prepared tables that I will be laying up here while I'm talking, and also at the end of the video, so if you guys need to get screenshots of that, they will also be provided. All right, now let's go. All right, so first things to even decide if you're interested in the program, I'm just gonna lay out basically what it looks like. You're looking at a 12-week program without a deload or testing, so in reality, you're probably looking at about 15 weeks before you see those super big PRs. You'll also be doing this 4 times a week. It is super simple and easy to follow and set up, so everyone from beginners to advanced people are absolutely gonna be able to get something out of this program. Now, the program itself is a mix of rotated percentages for your main strength work, and then linear when it comes to your technique work. Now, I'm gonna explain all of that later, and it is all made up of giant sets, because I just find giant sets to be the best possible, most efficient and effective way to work out. So if you're not down with giant sets, you probably should be watching a different channel. Now, each workout that you're gonna be doing 4 times a week should take you about an hour 15, an hour 30 in duration. And again, we're focused very much on mass and strength. So right now what I'm gonna do is break down what an average day is going to look like and what these giant sets are gonna be kind of consisting of. All right, so when you walk in the gym, each day is gonna be based off of one of the main movers of the 4 big exercises: your squat, your bench, your deadlift, and your overhead press, all right? Now, each workout in particular is gonna have 4 parts. Your first part is going to be a strength giant set that, again, is based off that main mover. Now, for this program in general, that main mover is gonna be a variation of the main movement. So if you're doing a bench press, you're gonna be doing a floor press or a close grip bench press or a pin press. It's going to be a variation that is designed to work on the weak point of your lift. Now, that giant set for the day is gonna have to undulate in intensity, otherwise you're gonna burn yourself out very, very fast, like you would on a traditional linear program. So what you're gonna have is 3 different intensities of heavy, medium, light. Now, if you've done any of my programs before, you will highly recognize the heavy, medium, light type of rep scheme. And I'm gonna actually break into what percentages are heavy, which are medium, which are light, and which waves later in the program when I throw up those charts. So right now, just understand that your giant set is going to be based off of different intensities so that you don't run yourself right into the ground. Immediately following your strength giant set is going to be your technique giant set. Now, I know I talked about using variations here, and that is because on your technique giant set, you're going to be doing the opposite but corresponding muscle group, right? So if it is your bench day, you're going to have your overhead press day, except on your technique giant set, you are doing nothing but the competition lift. So here would be your competition bench press, your competition squat, your competition deadlift, and of course like a strict press or whatever overhead press that you are going to be using as your competition lift. Your technique giant set is where you are doing the practice for your main lift. Remember, the strength is a skill. So if you were just going in and haphazardly going at it, it is no good. This technique giant set is completely set up for you to practice your setup, your form, your technique, your walkout, everything that you do that normally messes up your normal lifts, you're gonna be doing there. Now, the weak points of those lifts are gonna be being brought up here and in your assistance finisher, making you get stronger absolutely no matter what. However, the volume of all this is what is going to help you put on mass. Now, your technique giant set is going to be more linear in fashion, and your intensities for that are gonna be broken up into speed, reps, and endurance. And again, this goes into those charts later, so don't freak out too much if you don't understand completely yet. But for your speed reps, you're looking at something like 10 by 3. And for all of this, you're gonna be on the clock, right? So you're gonna have to keep moving because it's a lot to get done in an hour and a half. So short rest periods, all of this on the clock. 10 by 3 for your speed, your reps are gonna be 5 by 5. And for your endurance, you're gonna be doing 4 by 8. And again, I'm gonna lay out where those are, when, all of that coming up very, very soon. But if you've done it right, these two giant sets, you're probably sitting at about 45, 50 minutes in your workout. And now it is time for your assistance finisher. Now your assistance finisher, you guys have heard me talk about this extensively, and I have a lot of videos just on assistance finishers in general for each of the big four movements, as well as just talking about the principles of it. The idea of it is that I hate assistance work. If you tell me to do 4 sets of 10 on the incline bench press after my bench day, I'm not going to do it. I'll tell you I'm gonna do it, but when the time comes, it just doesn't seem that important. So in a horrible attempt to make myself actually do my assistance work, I started these assistance finishers. Now, the basic idea here is that your assistance work will take no more than like 10 to 12 minutes. It's typically in giant set format or some sort of challenge where you're throwing a bunch of exercises together and going after it that all focus upon the weak points of the lifts. Again, I have videos explaining a lot of this and giving examples of a ton of these. So if you need a little bit more on that, we're gonna get into it a little bit more later, but entire videos on that. But the assistance finisher, again, is working on the weak points of your main work for the day. Now, just to clarify very quickly again, if this is your deadlift day, then your technique, again, is going to be the corresponding muscle group, so it'll be your squat. Deadlift is gonna match up with squat, and bench is gonna match up with overhead press, so you don't need to reset everything up, and the same muscles are already warmed up, right? So your strength giant set is based off the deadlift, but again, it is a variation. So you're gonna be looking at something like an 18-inch deadlift. Now, your technique is gonna be based off of your competition squat. After your competition squat, you're coming back to your assistance finisher, but again, remember, it is going to be working on the weak points of your deadlift. So you have a deadlift base here, a squat base here, deadlift base here, and then conditioning. Now, on your squat day, conversely, you would have your squat giant set, and then your technique giant set's gonna take care of your deadlift stuff there. All right, so don't worry, you're going to be hitting every single body part at least twice a week, along with variations, assistance work, and your actual competition lifts. So trust me, you're gonna get plenty of volume, but the last thing that you're gonna do is your conditioning. Now, I talk about conditioning extensively in other videos as well as all the time during my training videos, but conditioning is a massive part of building work capacity, actually staying healthy, getting good blood flow to your muscles. It just does so much, but the biggest thing that I like about it is your mindset. If your workout program doesn't include at least just a little bit of super hard conditioning, you're soft. You're afraid it's gonna amazingly shrink all your muscle mass? Come on, man, you're better than that. Now, some people like me like to throw their conditioning before their strength work because it acts as a primer for their central nervous system for the work they're about to do. That's the same reason why a boxer or an MMA fighter comes out into the ring completely sweat from hitting pads and drilling in the back. Right? You blow out that first lung, you get ready for the work you're about to do. If your work capacity is up, that should not exhaust you for your strength. If it does, you have a work capacity problem, not a strength problem. But then again, I know a ton of people that like to leave the conditioning for the very end, so it is like an absolute finisher. They leave absolutely everything out their table, and I am a fan of that as well. So whether you do it before your workout or after your workout does not really matter to me. If you want to throw it away altogether, you do that too, because at the end of the day, this is your workout and you're gonna get out of it what you put into it. All I'll say is that if you want to be a stronger, leaner, more dangerous, healthier individual, then skipping your conditioning regularly probably shouldn't be the highest on your priority list. On to the giant sets. Okay, so now to explain the giant sets. Your strength giant set each day, remember, is gonna be a variation of your main mover. Now, the first movement in your giant set, if it is going to be an upper body, then you're going to use the antagonistic muscle group in the same plane. So if you're doing a bench press that day, you're going to do a row. If you are going to an overhead press, you will be doing a weighted pull-up or something similar to kind of get synovial fluid into that joint before your main mover, okay? If it is a lower body exercise, like a deadlift or a squat, then I want you to think about doing something and get your hips moving as explosively as possible. Now, I have videos on both of these things. If you guys need any help with any of that, again, entire videos just laying out all of the examples that I could think of on these types of things, okay? So, the first movement is going to be either the antagonistic muscle group or the explosive mover to your main mover. So let's use bench press, okay? You're gonna do a row to a bench press. Then you have a core variation. Now the core variation can be oblique based or regular ab based or whatever the case may be. Again, tons of videos on that if you guys need ideas. The fourth section of your giant set is going to be something that's going to keep your heart rate up. So it could be as simple as doing jumping jacks or burpees or jump rope or battle rope, or you could do a sprint or whatever is going to be here, okay? But you want to do something that's for a short duration, typically like 30-second type of time. So let's say you did 5 burpees, 10 burpees in 30 seconds, then you take 90 seconds rest, you get back to the top, okay? Now, for your strength giant set, you're gonna have 3 rounds of that every single day. Now, each round is going to increase in weight. Your first one is going to be whatever, then you're gonna jump up about 10%, hit that, then your next one, you're gonna jump up 10%. On your third round, your last round, you're gonna go for as many reps as possible. Now, each and every single round that you're going for, each set that you go for, will have that percentage with a goal rep number. So, let's say it's 70% and you're supposed to get 9 reps or whatever. I should probably know this. That's why there's charts later. But let's say for your first set, you're supposed to get 10 reps. Your second set, you're supposed to get 8 reps because it went up in weight. Your third set is gonna be your heaviest set and it says you're supposed to get 6+. So you get as many reps as possible on that. So if it is a little bit light, then you need to tune it up and really get after it on that last as many reps as possible set. Now, again, remember, this was our bench day, right? So that means that our technique giant set over here, your technique giant set is going to be based on the overhead press because again, it's the complementary exercise. Bench press with overhead press, squat with deadlift. So you take your bench press for your main giant set. Now you go over to your technique giant set where you have your overhead press and it's gonna follow basically the same idea. You're gonna have the antagonistic muscle group, so you'll be doing something like a weighted pull up or whatever you're gonna do to get this motion. Then you're gonna go into your strict press. Now, if it is a speed day, you're doing 10x3 on the clock. Reps, it's 5x5 on the clock. Endurance is 4x8 on the clock at different percentages there as well. Very linear, very easy to follow. Now you will notice that these percentages are actually kind of low, and that is intentional because you're already tired from your strength giant set where you worked the variation of the weak point of your lift. So this is gonna be weaker anyway, right? So already we are trying to just really focus on the technique, the form, the walkout, the setup, everything like that is gonna be super important here. Every single rep of this matters. And you'll know exactly how much it matters in just a short amount of time when you end up testing. But those are gonna be your 2 main giant sets for the day, and then you're gonna move on to your assistance finisher, and then of course conditioning, and that's your entire day. And now it's time to get a little bit more into the weeds, and then we're gonna get in those tables, and all of this is going to suddenly matrix itself into making sense. Probably not. Take that, giant set. Oh, okay, last things that you need to know. All right, so last things you're gonna need to know before we get in these tables is that you wanna keep between 24 to 48 hours between your strength sessions. So I personally work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the same time each day, and then I work out Saturday morning. Now that last one, I do not get a full 24 hours between strength sessions, and I can absolutely tell you that last strength session sucks. So I stick the thing that matters least to me there. But honestly, one of the biggest problems I see with people in the gym today is that they are doing too much too often, okay? There should be working time and there should be resting time. When you're in the gym, I want you to absolutely crush it and then you rest. So what I'd rather see you do is actually give your full effort into those 4 days a week instead of half effort into 5 or 6 days a week. Give it everything you have and then rest, guys. But again, do your best to keep between 24 and 48 hours between your workouts. Now, this is going to be 4 waves. Each wave is going to be 3 weeks. Now, each week is going to have a different intensity, like I spoke about. Now, those intensities are going to rotate so that you don't burn yourself out. So we're going to undulate the intensities of not only your strength giant set, but also your technique giant set, so you'll never be too beat up at any given time. You're never going to see a heavy deadlift, a heavy bench, and a heavy squat all in the same block week of training. Now, also, not only are you going to be undulating the intensity of your strength stuff and your technique stuff, even your assistance stuff is going to go. So if you have a heavy day on your strength giant set, you might have a light day on your technique giant set and a medium day on your assistance, whatever the case may be, but you're not going to be loaded up going heavy, heavy, heavy and just burning yourself out. Your CNS and the recovery and everything that goes into that about the balancing of programming is the #1 reason why stuff works or it doesn't work. If you guys are doing too much, it is not going to work, okay? For this program in particular, you cannot mess around with it. Everything is laid out for a reason, and each thing has an intensity where it is supposed to be. Even if it says it's supposed to be light that day, you need to stay light because the next day coming up might absolutely crush you, and I know that's happening, so I planned for it. Follow the plan, people. Now, like I just mentioned, all 4 of these 3-week waves, as you increase the intensity for both not only your strength stuff, but also your technique stuff, is gonna increase 5% every single wave. So if you start out at 50%, wave 2 you're gonna be at 55, wave 3 you're gonna be at 60, wave 4 you're gonna be at 65. Math is hard. Now, as you're about to see, for some portions of the program, this will take you up to 95% for as many reps as possible. So when that happens, you always have the ability to hit 1 rep, and if that feels really good, break out of your PR, and you're changing your percentages automatically on the spot so you can stay as relevant as possible. If you guys get to the end of a wave and you did your 3 giant sets of your strength giant set, and you were supposed to get 5 reps, for instance, on your last set, and you went for as many reps as possible, and you're like doubling that number, then when the wave kicks up, instead of increasing 5%, you might want to increase like 10%. But again, this program is simple enough and easy enough set up that you can kind of play with those percentages as you go to keep it as relevant as possible to continue to make progress. So like if your squat is stalled, then you can change that up and continue making progress while everything else is moving forward. All right, so I guess I should probably show you what a day looks like, and then I'll do the tables. All right, so here's a really quick example of a squat day. So you're gonna start out with your strength giant set, and you're gonna do something explosive. Remember, you're trying to do some antagonistic muscle group or an explosive muscle group before your main mover, which is going to be a variation for your main strength giant set. So I'm starting out with 5 burpee pull-ups to try to get my hips moving as explosively as possible, trying to get that vertical upward motion that I'm gonna be kind of mimicking in the deadlift, all right? Or the squat, I'm sorry. That was good. But from there, I'm gonna move on to the variation of my main mover for the day, which is the squat. Now, my variation is gonna be a front squat because that is something I need to work on. Now remember, you have 3 giant sets that you're gonna get through for this entire strength thing at different percentages with rep goals. Now, your first set, you're gonna do 5 burpee pull-ups, your front squats to 10 dragon flags, remember, a core movement, and then after that, 30 seconds to higher flips because we're doing something to keep our heart rate up. You're gonna get 90 seconds of rest, change the weight on the bar, and get back up to the top and go again. Now, each one of those sets that you're going to do, the intensity is going to increase by 10%. So your first set is gonna be at 60% where you're trying to get 10 reps. And if you get 10 reps, you stop there, even if it's easy. Your second set, as you finish through, you go back up the top, get back up to your front squats. Your second set is at 70%, where you're going for 8 reps. Again, that's what you're going for. If you get 8 and it's easy, that's where you stay. You finish the rest of your giant set, you go back up the top. When you come around your front squats for your last one, remember your last set of your giant set, your strength giant set, is as many reps as possible. So on this one, you have 80% and we have 6+, which means you're hoping to get at least 6, but if you can get more, you get more. Now remember, if you're absolutely destroying this last set all of the time on your strength giant set, when the new wave comes up and you're supposed to increase 5% to your strength, I would probably increase 10%, okay? But as soon as you are done your strength giant set, then it's time for your technique giant set. Now remember, it is the complementary muscle group to this. So if you have your squat as your main movement for the day, you're gonna be working technique on the deadlift. So here, remember you have 3 different intensities for your technique stuff. You have a speed day, which is 10 by 3, a rep day, which is gonna be 5 by 5 at different intensities, and then you have endurance day, which is 4 by 8. For this day, we're just gonna choose the speed day. So at top every minute for 10 minutes, which means every single time that second hand comes back up to the 12, it's time for you to go. In that time, you have that entire time. If you move fast, you get more rest. If you move slow, you get less rest. But in that time, you need to complete 2 box jumps to regular height. Again, trying to be explosive with our hips. And then you move on to 3 competition deadlifts, practicing your setup, your form, your walk up, everything. You're practicing, no rep is wasted there. But you have 3 competition deadlifts at 60%. And as soon as you've done all that, you move on to the assistance finisher. The assistance finisher, which is only supposed to last you about 10 to 12 minutes, because again, we don't like doing assistance, so we're trying to get it over with, is always gonna be some sort of challenge that's gonna test you both mentally as well as physically. So for this day, what I'm choosing, since again, our main mover is the squat, and because of that, the technique giant set was based on the deadlift, but now we need to move back to some of the weak points on our squat. So for the assist finisher, I chose to do a tempo squat at 55% of my 1 rep max. Now I'm gonna do 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 reps, where I'm going 4 seconds down, 4 second pause, 4 second up, okay? 4 or 5 reps. Then I'm doing a 30-second wall sit, 4 reps. 30-second wall sit, 3 reps. 30-second wall sit, there you go. You understand? See what's happening here? Now again, although that is going to be extremely painful, that should not take me more than about 10 to 12 minutes, and then I'm gonna finish off my conditioning, which again is gonna be 10 minutes, where I'm going at the top of every minute for 10 minutes again, 5 burpees, 5 squats, 5 push-ups, 20 mountain climbers, 20 jumping jacks. Now, I do want you guys to take notice. Remember how I talked about how the intensities are going to vacillate not only throughout the week, but also throughout the day. So for this particular program, your squats, your front squats at the beginning were heavy, where you're ending at 80% for as many reps as possible. Your technique giant set is light because you're already beat up from that heavy giant set. Then when you move on to your resistance finisher, this is going to be more rep range type of stuff where you're kind of working through that 5x5 type of area. And then you're gonna finish off with some very light conditioning that is nothing more than your body weight. So that entire thing should not beat up your body too much. You wait 24 to 48 hours and you're ready for your next training day. But both those last two whiteboards are a very basic idea of what an average day will look like on this program. On to the tables. So guys, what I'm gonna do for the tables here is just throw them up on the screen and then keep talking to you like this. You guys can look at what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I cannot write it up here. Number one, because I am way too lazy and that is a lot of writing. And number two, it's gonna be too small and sloppy and you're gonna wanna take the screenshot anyway because it's just gonna be cleaner and just trust me on this. Here we go. All right, to further emphasize what I'm basically talking about here, guys, this chart here is going to lay out all of your intensities that undulate throughout the week, as well as throughout the wave, throughout everything, all right? So if you look there at the top left, you're gonna see the main mover. That's gonna be for your strength giant set. Just like we talked about, it's going to be heavy, all right? Your technique for that day is gonna be speed, and your assistance or your strongman is gonna be based off reps. Therefore, when you move on to day two, which if you guys see up top there, I start out with my squat is day one, overhead press is day two, my deadlift is day three, and my bench is day four. So for day two, since my squat was heavy, my overhead press is going to be medium for my giant set, my technique is gonna be endurance, and then my assist is gonna be heavy. So again, you guys see, throughout the entire thing, you're not going like heavy, light, or anything like that. It's always well balanced so that you guys should never really burn out too often like you would on a traditional linear. And it also allows your body to continually make progress, whether it be on the technique or the main mover or whatever the case may be. You're either going to be driving up your static strength and your technique during those giant sets, or you're going to be driving up your weak points between the assistance and your main mover. So all in all, you should be gaining a ton of mass as well as a lot of strength with this. Now the second table is going to lay out the exact intensities that you're going to need for all of this stuff throughout the waves, throughout the weeks, throughout your sets, everything. So this one is massively important. As you can see here, so like we just laid out, your very first day, let's say you're doing a squat, you can have 60% for 10 reps, 70% for 8 reps, 8% for 6 reps, and if you look up top, that's as many reps as possible, so you're going for 6+. Your technique on that day is gonna be speed. Your reps and percentages and sets are gonna be 10x3 at 55%. So all of this is laid out for you. There's absolutely no reason why you guys cannot do this. You know how to lay out your giant sets, you know how to lay out their percentages. When you move on to your second day, you just go on like that. When you guys go on to your next week, like I said, it vacillates each time. So if you have your squat is heavy on the first week, like you're seeing there in blue, your second week, it's going to be medium, which is red, and those are your percentages. Your third week, it's going to be light, where you have 50, 60, 70%. Your technique work is gonna be reps, but then you move on to wave two, where you add 5% to everything, or like I talked about earlier, if you're destroying those many reps as possible sets by like double, then I would add like 10%, but your second wave, you're just gonna add 5 to 10% to all of those percentages. So as you can see, for your heavy set, you had 60% for 10 in wave one. In wave two, now it is 65 for 9. In wave three, you're going 70% for 8. In wave four, you're going 75 for 7. So it keeps kicking up by 5% while your reps go down, because obviously as it gets heavier, whatever. Now, as I talked about before, if you guys look all the way down in week 4 on the last set of your heavy work, you're looking at 95 for 1 or as many reps as possible. Now, I know a lot of you right now are thinking that's absolute insanity. There's no way I'm gonna be there, but you need to remember that you are 3 months away from that type of thing happening. So hopefully, if you followed everything up to that 95% is gonna be more like your 80 to 85%. So you're gonna be able to absolutely crush that, break into new PRs, and it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, guys, there you go. That is absolutely everything that you guys are going to need to build your own mass builder program. There's absolutely no reason why you guys cannot do this on your own, and I know a lot of you are plenty smart enough to lay all this out, stick your own exercise in where you want them for your own goals, do whatever you want, but I guarantee if you guys follow this, you will be a stronger, bigger individual by the end of it. Now it is time for that shameless plug, because as you guys know, personalizing things like this is exactly how I make a living. It's also what makes all of these videos possible. So guys, like I said, I'm not insulting your intelligence. I am well aware that most of you can set this up without any problem at all, but some of you like the convenience of someone else doing it, and some of you like having someone like myself as a navigator who has been down this road many, many times. I've taken this road trip 1,000 times, I've made 1,000 wrong turns. So sometimes it's easier if you have a navigator who's made that trip before to help you not make as many wrong turns along the way. So if that is something you're interested in, definitely email me at neversate@gmail.com. I can personalize one of these for you, and hopefully either that or one of the other programs, whatever you're looking for, guys. Like I said, that is how I make my money, and that is how these videos are possible. I thank you guys so much. I have no doubt that you guys can do this, but if you guys did want a little bit of help, I'm your dude. The only other thing that I will say is for a lot of you who are interested in learning how to program, this is exactly how I learned, guys. I bought programs from people that I respected. I took the things that I liked. I discarded what I did not like. I started making my own types of programs, my own types of things, but it wasn't until I had some scientific basis behind what I was doing that they actually started working. So if you guys are interested in programming, I would highly encourage that you buy even the most basic stuff just so you get an idea. And then again, take away from it what you will, throw away what you don't like, and then start building your own stuff. But this is exactly how I learned. So if you guys are in the same boat as me, a couple moons ago where you were looking at it going, I want to learn how to program, but I don't know how, just turn to somebody who's been down the road before you, has made the mistakes so that you don't take quite as long to get there. Anyway, guys, I know these videos are very long and tedious because it's nothing more than my ugly face and a whiteboard. However, I do really appreciate you guys staying with me, watching the whole thing. And guys, I can't tell you how much I really appreciate all of you who take the time to actually write all this out and go after it and try it, or you guys contact me. Man, it is so cool. I am so amazed that so many people have gotten such good results. Now, for those of you who have tried the Power Builder program before, the Power Builder program, this program is like that one except completely overhauled and better, but the same basic principles. So if you guys got good results from something like that, then I would highly encourage you guys try this. That Power Builder program was actually the skeleton that I originally wrote for that was responsible for Nick winning his first national title as well as 2 other national titles, countless state titles. So I know these rep ranges, these goals, all of this absolutely works. There's no doubt in my mind, you just need to apply it and stick to the plan. So yeah, there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this helps you guys out. I will catch you guys later in the week, but until I do, go after something amazing, realize, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then.